Yo, what's up, man? Sean G. May the 24th, 2025. Happy birthday to my son. It's my son's birthday. Welcome to the podcast with Soul. Shout out to all my new subscribers, all my new followers. Shout out to the ladies. Just a quick qualifier. I, as a child, in my own house with my mother, saw domestic violence firsthand. So I do not condone domestic violence against women. I do not condone the hitting of women. I don't hit women. I don't need to hit women. So I just want to let that be known so that it's not misconstrued that I am in agreement with the hitting of women. That ain't my style. That ain't what I do.
We were just coming from a photo shoot and we were in the hotel room. I fall asleep on the couch because, we were just out all day. I wake up to him storming in the room and screaming, "Where is she?" They shut the door and everything just started happening. And I saw the aftermath, the bruises, the busted lip, the knots on the head, and it was really bad. Like, I don't know how any man could hurt another human being that way.
Mylah says she called a doctor friend to patch the singer up. She and Cassie were too afraid to take her to hospital, let alone go to the police. You felt like you couldn't?
No, we couldn't. You think we could have done that back then? No, hell no. Absolutely not. That would not be safe for any of us.
That's terrifying to think, Mylah, that you didn't feel safe actually going to an emergency room when your friend was really badly injured.
Yeah, we're not dealing with a normal person, and the person that actually did the abuse is somebody who's powerful, and that's not something we can take lightly.
What is it about Diddy's circle that makes them so loyal? So many people, as you say, would have ignored what was going on.
To be honest with you, these are their jobs, and it's not about being loyal. It's more so this is your job. And it goes back to centuries when they're people in positions of power. What are the servants going to do?
That is Mylah Morales. She was Cassie's makeup artist. She took the stand on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. I have my notes. My name is Sean G. I live right here in North Jersey. I get up every morning and I drive to Jersey City, New Jersey, and I jump on the train, go into Manhattan, and go to the federal court and go into the courtroom to hear the testimony and the evidence of the witnesses, live, cross-examinations, direct examinations, everything. I sit there for the whole session. Everything that I'm going to tell you is what I saw and what I heard. And nobody told me this. I didn't read it in a newspaper. I didn't watch it on some other channel. I'm there, live on the scene, taking notes. Everything I say is from notes that I've taken. Mylah Morales got on the stand. Her direct examination, she says that she's known Cassie for 20 years. She met Cassie in 2004 and 2005. And in 2007, she started doing Cassie's makeup. She talked about that she was a makeup artist for Cassie and Puffy. And during Grammy weekend in 2010, She testified that she was in a hotel room with Cassie and Puffy, and she heard some commotion in the bedroom. Cassie came out of the bedroom, and then a little while after, Puffy came out of the bedroom and says, "Where the fuck is she?" Mylah Morales then says that Cassie had a swollen eye, a busted lip, and knots on her head, but that she didn't see what happened. This is what comes out in cross-examination. She didn't see what happened. Mylah Morales testified under oath that she suggested to Cassie to go to the emergency room, and Cassie declined. Says, "No, I'm not going to no emergency room." She said that Cassie stayed at her house for 2 or 3 days. She called a doctor friend of hers to come over and look at Cassie. I might be wrong on this, but when you read the transcripts and you hear the testimony or you read the testimony, I think one time she said, I called a doctor friend of mine and he came over. And then I think another time during her testimony, I heard her say the doctor friend came over and she looked at Cassie. So I think she referred to the doctor as a he at one point and then as a she as another point. At another point, I could be wrong, but you guys double check that. Under direct examination by the prosecutors, Mylah Morales did admit that she had some photos of Puffy and Kim Porter that she has recently sold for money, for a couple $1,000s. You know what I'm saying? So that, understand that part, because this is what's, I say that part because this is what's going to lead up to the cross-examination. So the prosecution rested the defense attorney, attorney Esteveo, which is Puffy's attorney. She's mean. She begins to cross-examine Mylah Morales and says that it was her, Mylah Morales, that introduced Cassie to Ryan Leslie. And that she, Mylah Morales, did editorial photo shoots and video shoots with Cassie and Wiz Khalifa at least 2 to 3 times. She has photos of Wiz Khalifa and Cassie. The government, it was either the government or either the defense attorneys put these images up on the screen as exhibits showing Cassie at a video shoot with Wiz Khalifa, Cassie at video shoots with Rihanna and Wiz Khalifa, or at another event, Cassie with Ryan Leslie, and that she was a hairstylist, makeup artist. She did Cassie's nails. She did Cassie's hair. And these pictures of Cassie, Rihanna, Ryan Leslie, Wiz Khalifa, Mylah Morales would take these pictures and post them to her Instagram. Mylah Morales testified that she felt as though she was a big sister to Cassie. Puffy's attorney starts to get into it, right? Puffy's attorney says, "Miss Morales, you've done 8 appearances on different TV shows in the last year where you're talking about Cassie and Puffy, and you haven't seen either of them in about 10 years. You haven't talked to Cassie in about 10 years. You haven't talked to Puffy in about a decade. In May 2024, check out the dates. This is right after Cassie files her civil suit. Mylah Morales goes on CNN, Don Lemon, Extra TV, Piers Morgan, and she's also in the documentary a Puffy documentary, and she's in another Puffy documentary. And Puffy's attorney asks her, were you paid for any of those appearances? She said no. Puffy's attorney, Miss Esteveo, says, did Cassie ask you to do any of these interviews? She said no. Did Puffy ask you to do any of these interviews? She said no. Puffy's attorney, Miss Esteveo, says, when you met with federal prosecutors, do you remember asking the government if you could do more interviews? She says, no, I don't remember that. Miss Esteveo says, well, let me refresh your memory. Read this, and when you're done reading this, look up at me to let me know you're done. Do you see there that you asked the prosecutors if you could do another interview with Dateline? She started rambling and rambling. In other words, she's busted. Were you reimbursed for therapy for the documentary you did on Puffy? She says she was reimbursed for $250. There was no redirect examination. There was no recross examination. She was on the stand for no more than 12 minutes, 13 minutes. It was just totally insignificant. But what the Puffy's attorneys brought to the forefront is that Mylah Morales is just inserting herself into the discussion so that she can be booked to do interviews and talk about Cassie and Puffy because she used to do Cassie's makeup, hair, nails, and makeup back 10, 15 years ago. And that she introduced Cassie to Ryan Leslie. And Puffy's attorney also brought out that she has all these pictures of Cassie and Wiz Khalifa, and that she's attempting to sell this stuff for a profit. And that's pretty much it. But you saw that was an interview she did with another news channel, and that's the extent of her testimony. But it's nothing more. She is in it for nothing more than to insert herself into the discussion. And when these big news outlets reach out to her, she probably charges them a fee, says it has to be in cash, because she met with 8 different news organizations to talk about this. And neither Cassie nor Puffy asked her to do the interviews. They haven't seen her. She hasn't spoken to them in over a decade or more. And like I said before, she had a picture of Kim Porter and Puffy together, and she sold it for like $1,000. Sean G, podcast was sold. Peace.